speculators drove the price of oil from $55 a barrel to $145.
Speculators did?
As I told you, the oil companies raised their prices to us in concert with that. Now,
they have to raise their prices.
there was no refining issue.
Right there, when he's talking about the oil companies sell it to us, he's talking about, you know, the mobile mart down the street, you know, Chevron and Shell and who the hell else is out there on the road, on the street, on the highways and the byways where you buy your gas. He's talking about them. Mom and pop got to raise their prices, not the oil company. The oil company gets it out of the ground. The speculators fight over it and buy it, and then, you know, whoever's wearing their label out here out at the gas station sells it at a higher price because they had to buy it at a higher price.
The government agency overseeing the commodities market allowed it to happen, then denied it happened. But today
they allowed it to happen, as if they could stop it.
And you may remember that I was the first broadcast journalist to report the story.
Yeah. Kudos to you, O'Reilly. You're the man.
Many of us can expect to pay $3 a gallon for gasoline this summer thanks to some speculators.
What a fortune teller, huh?
And to the oil companies who love that kind of speculation so they can raise prices.
Big bad oil.
Subsequently, I did a number of reports on the oil corruption because it was hurting all of us. I knew it was a bad situation, but I never thought it would ignite a worldwide recession. You may also remember that just about every financial journalist told me I was nuts.
Well,
so I am proud that for 13 years the factor has looked out for you and has been right 95% of the time.
Toot my own horn.
The federal government. It simply cannot or will not control corruption. Look,
well, it can't control the market.
Partially because billions of dollars were taken out of the American economy and put in the pockets of the oil companies and speculators. That led directly...
Bullshit. Anything, if the government is not stopping it, you know what their reasons is? The more profit the big oil companies make, the more taxes they pay to big government. And meanwhile, government and, you know, old assholes like him can villainize big oil and make it look like they're looking out for you, the folks. Yes. So you keep on watching him every night to be even further fucking misled.
But the bigger question is the federal government. It simply cannot or will not control corruption. We're all suffering right now. Partially because billions of dollars were taken out of the American economy and put in the pockets of the oil companies and speculators. That led directly to the economic collapse.
No, it didn't.
President Bush barely had no clue.
Yes,
now President Obama wants the government to run the financial system and the healthcare industry.
Yeah, Obama's going to do it too. Obama is power hungry. Bush apparently had no clue. Bill O'Reilly knows what the deal is. George Bush isn't going to do anything about it because he wants everybody to get their oil. He's not going to clamp down on, you know, the trade itself.
Quite simply, the federal government cannot run the economy, health care, or assure your personal happiness.
So why is he bitching about how the federal government should do something, and then he says that they can't?
Ease down the big government road of social engineering, you will see massive, and I mean massive, corruption.
Oh, first fucking two things he said.
With the bankruptcy and the dollar crash. Already some speculators are betting against the dollar.
Already some speculators are betting against the dollar. The whole time while oil was going up in price, and subprime loans were foreclosing 1 in every 7, or by the thousands, or by the millions, or whatever the damn number is. That was due to speculators like George Soros trying to sell dollars overseas for, you know, for whatever they could get for them, and devaluing them. Soros and them have been doing it for years to make the dollar worthless against other currencies, to make our country weaker and make our economy weaker. And Bill O'Reilly's got to know that. He just doesn't want to tell you.
Earnings are based on a viable American dollar. The federal government's primary job is to protect us from bad people, whether they are terrorists, corrupt speculators, or healthcare.
Or Bill O'Reilly.
The oil speculation deal should be an enormous wake-up call for all of us.
Wake up.
And that's the memo. Mr. Rove.
Smarter than Bill O'Reilly.
Well, look, I want to see the whole report. What we saw in the Wall Street Journal today was a leak of a report. I frankly do not think our current economic circumstances are traceable to oil speculation. I think the role of two government-chartered enterprises, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, combined in enabling lots of bad actors in the real estate market to give mortgages to people who didn't deserve to have
them. That sounds more like
it was part of it. Mr. Rove,
much bigger.
You're a logical thinker. You're like me in this regard.
Oh, just like hell.
A, B, C, D guy. Okay? If you shock the American economy by raising gas prices from $2 to $4 a gallon in a short period of time, which is what happened, and people, working class people, have to take money that they spend on other things and put it in their gas tank or to heat their homes, you take the money out of the overall economy. You soften it up. Okay? That's exactly what happened here. Now, you want to read the full report, you go ahead.
Yeah.
But beyond the reasonable doubt, the speculators,
it is not beyond reasonable doubt. Look, last summer, when this was all happening, we had record high demand worldwide, which has now since softened. The Chinese were buying every bit of oil production that was coming on the market. We had record low stocks.
Why would the government issue this report today?
Because they're liars. They want to blame Bush.
The report today.
Okay, you know what the main reason is? One reason that they're not mentioning, last year, Hugo Chavez, the communist president of Venezuela, in his effort to nationalize his country's oil industry, the ones who are our third largest supplier, who supplies Citgo nearly all of their oil, and Citgo is the #1 supplier to the United States Navy and all them big giant ships they got out on the ocean running on Citgo gas coming from Venezuela. Chavez kicked out every American oil company worker drilling for oil in Venezuela and its waters, and made them just leave with nothing but their frickin' underwear and their socks in a suitcase, man. Leave all the equipment behind, all the derricks, all the rigs, all the boats, all the helicopters. Well, probably they had to fly out on the helicopters. But everything, man. All their equipment, all their construction equipment, just leave it and get the hell out of Venezuela right the hell now. And of course George Bush and his administration didn't complain about it and didn't want to inform everybody about it, because of course we're trying to fight a war in Iraq, and our war is dependent. Our war machine, of course, is dependent on oil, and so therefore you can't make the enemy think that it's more difficult for you to get oil. So therefore, Bush didn't say nothing about it, and thusly that worked to the disadvantage of the Bush administration and the Republicans for the future election in '08, where Barack Obama won, because they couldn't complain about why the price of oil was up, and Bush being an oil man, and Cheney being an oil man, they were getting the blame for it, and being chastised and vilified and villainized by the press and by the Democrat Party, who knew full well what the real deal was, but were able to lie about Bush and his administration to the advantage of their own party, the Democrats. Do you see?